Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I have a nice rack. It looks close to a bingo. I can't see a bingo, so I like the idea of playing K. It leaves a decent rack leave and not too much for my opponent to score off. Just pausing in case there is a 7-letter bingo here that I've overlooked, but I'm not seeing it. I have T-ware, which is quite nice. And at the moment that plays in row I, making at and ye. I thought for a moment I had I water through the Y, but that would require 3 E's and 1 A. The C obstructs parallel plays because the only 2-letter word with a C is CH. So it's likely that my current T-ware spot will be taken, but hopefully there'll be another one available. I can't think of any 8s with this rack apart from T-wares. If I don't have a playable bingo, then I'll be looking to play off certainly A and W and possibly one of the E's as well. Basically the tiles that I drew. Opponent taking a while with his opening move. It sometimes means he's choosing the best bingo. Just looking again at the C, in case there's a bingo through that, but C and W not particularly synergetic. I've got water as a 5-letter compound element of a bingo with AE. Well, there could be some bingos with water in and AE. Seawater. Okay, that's the anagram of T-wares. Opponent spending 2.5 minutes on his opening move. Certainly I should be able to play fairly quickly once he plays, especially if there is a bingo lane available. I can see from our ratings that we're fairly evenly matched. Let me see what publicly available information there is about my opponent. Well, he's played a lot of games. Wow, 2 blanks. 2 blanks. And T-ware is blocked. Nothing that I've got goes in front of double A. Wow, great start for my opponent. So I've already considered the C. Vowels don't look hopeful with this rack, so really it's just the N. Do I have a bingo with this rack plus an N? I don't think I do. And anionic is a pretty killing play in that I've got no parallel play onto the triple word square because of the limitations of the C. Wow, great start for my opponent. I was really looking forward to playing my bingo and zooming off into the distance. That's not happening. And I'm struggling to think of a play. The N looks the most likely, but I'm not going to score very much. Well, what about just playing or here, leaving a decent rack leave, and 18 points. Pretty good. That looks like there should be a 7 with this rack, but I'm not seeing it. Only the floating C to consider, or mainly the floating C to consider. And I guess there's EN as a 2-letter set, so I've got parented through that, but that's not a bingo. I'm not seeing a bingo through the C. WO not looking particularly promising, so EN is the most likely of the 2-letter sets. But I'm not seeing anything. Well, I suspect there are going to be bingos. Now, what about the I? Because D can go in front of the I. So, dipteran. Great. At the moment, I have dipteran through that I. Now, does dipteran have any anagrams? None that's coming to mind. The I gives me retain plus 2 tiles, D and P in this instance. Retain is the best 6-letter set. It pretty much makes the most 7- and 8-letter words. So important to know your retain bingos. So what if dipteran is blocked? Well, I've got a T for going in front of WO. My opponent's got a 31-point lead. And he's also spending a while on this second move. Are we about to see another bingo? I'm still looking for 7s with this rack, but I think I would have seen it by now if there were one. So just dipteran at the moment in terms of bingos. But that could easily be blocked. Okay, we are back. My connection was down. And the game was adjourned as a consequence, but I've been able to reconnect the ISC, and it's my move. My opponent's played Mog. He has not blocked dipteran. Great. I'm glad I persevered with getting reconnected. So, dipteran for 82. Quite a nice rack. Could be a bingo here. Slightly vowel heavy. And the U not great. I've got auto as a prefix and out. And a few floaters in dipteran. And I've also got the C of K available. So, well, it doesn't work, but I've got auto cars through the C. And that also doesn't work with the other C. I don't think arousant is good. I'm not even going to check that. I'm sure it's not good. And I'm just not seeing anything through R and A. And that means this is a difficult rack to deal with because I have no scoring tiles. And I've got a pretty slender lead as well. I guess I could play AUA, parallel to Dipteran. And the other short word which sorts this rack out is Ureo. However, if I played that alongside Dipteran, then it would open up row O. However, I have an S, so maybe that's worth doing. Except my opponent's now blocked that. 25 points for him. I'm looking in row E to see what I can play. But a play in row E would require placing R and T together, which makes it tricky to resolve the preponderance of vowels. So what I could do is play AUA here. AUA does take an S. I've got an S. Both blanks have gone. So this only fails if my opponent has got a blank. Sorry, if my opponent has got an S. And I think the odds therefore favour me. Great, I have torches and hectors and roches in row A, and all of those words also play in row K to make oms. So that has pretty much paid off, unless my opponent has got a monster bingo in row O. Only takes an S after it, so I don't think I've got a double-double in row K. Let me just reconfirm in my mind that I've considered all of the bingos here. So hectors, torches, roches, possibly troches. Okay, well, all of them end in S. And there's no difference between any of them in terms of score in row O. So it's a case of which of those plays avoid placing a vowel next to one of these triple letter squares. My opponent may have deduced as a result of my hour play that I do have an S. I don't think that's obvious from the play. I may simply be resolving a vowel-heavy rack. Now, row A available for a triple-triple. I can't see one. Close to Trochisk. Well, that would only work if the E was an I, and it wouldn't be a 9-timer. So I think I go back to plan A, which was hectors, or roches, or torches. And I think I'll go with torches. For 94. And that's pretty good. I have Fusilier onto the R of Keragen. And I would hope that my opponent would play in row A through this K, leaving that R alone. If he interferes with the R, I don't think I have a bingo. And I may not be able to score very much. This isn't a great looking rack, apart from the bingo. I'd be looking to play the F for score and also to get rid of the E and the U. Not easy. I've got an 80-point lead. And that should mean if I can get Fusilier down that I'll have a pretty solid lead heading into the last third of the game. Fantastic. Fusilier remains available. Superb. So, Fusilier for 63. And another nice rack. I can't immediately see a bingo here, but there could be one. And even if there isn't, it's a nice rack because I've got scoring tiles and it's balanced and I've got no duplicates. So, is there a 7 here? I don't think so. What about the floaters? So, it's just the F of Fusilier. That doesn't look great. Okay, some more floaters to consider. But I'm not feeling optimistic that there is a bingo. I note that my Y can go after FE, so I could have a big score there. So, is there really nothing through the L? I don't think so. What about the T? Can't see anything. Can't see anything with the H. And that's pretty much it for floaters. So, I could play Yob and Fey and leave a pretty good rack leave of EINT. That's pretty tempting. An L in exactly 4th place with both blanks gone means my opponent is very unlikely to have a triple-triple. However, what's the most I could score through that L? Well, I'm struggling to see anything through it. Byline doesn't hit the triples. And I'm really looking for plays which use the B or the Y. I'm not seeing one. So are there any better spots for Yob? I don't think so. And this leaves a pretty decent rack leave. And EINT goes well with the L of Lithe, and it also goes well for a 7-letter bingo, and there's row N available. And certainly if I draw one of the last 2 S's, this would be a very strong 5-letter set. Okay, that's looks okay. But I can't see a bingo here. Interpret through RE. No REs available. What a shame. This looks, as with the last rack, this looks very close to a bingo, and in fact this looks closer to a bingo than the last rack. Opponent down to 8 minutes. Not really time trouble. 26 tiles to come. He may be wondering about leaving this 9-timer, the triple lane open. He's 120 points behind, and he may be thinking about opening up a new triple lane, which he could do in the bottom right-hand column. I'm still looking at the floaters in Lithe in case I've overlooked a bingo, but I'm not seeing one. None of the floaters in torches are available for bingos. UN is available, possibly for a word ending tune, print tune. Not good. So if I don't have a bingo, I've got PI opened by for 20 odd points, but it would be good to get rid of one of the T's as well. Great, only 4 points for my opponent. Fantastic. He didn't like leaving that lane open. So, no harm done there by playing Yob. I seem to have lost the sound of the plays coming from ISC. Lieu takes an S and an X. It doesn't take a T. And I don't quite have the tiles for Lieutenant. by quite a long way. 10 minutes on my clock, 23 tiles to come. I'm not home and dry. I'm only 110 points ahead. If my opponent got an 80 or 90 point bingo, he'd be breathing down my neck. So I need to keep scoring. Only one T to come, so I could play PI here. This isn't a bad rack leave, but there are no floating vowels on the board. There are 11 vowels out of, wow, 30 tiles. Only a third of the unseen tiles are vowels. That suggests that PI is not a great play, especially as it only scores 20 points. So, why not do something more sensible, like print? And that's print is nice because it obstructs column 2 as a bingo lane. It leaves me with 2 vowels, which is good given the vowel shortage. Print does take an S in front, but that's not a bingo lane. So it's more useful for me than my opponent. I'm going with this. I draw the J, and I draw more vowels, which is fine. It makes the bag drier in terms of vowels, so my opponent is less likely to bingo. So I could play, well, I was going to say Joe and Det, but Joe does take that front S. Wow, 93 points for my opponent. That is massive. That is massive. He's only 50 points behind. What a shame print didn't extend one further square, and that would totally have obstructed Swizz. And I'm wondering now whether he played Lou to set up Swizz. Quite possible. Okay. So what can I do with my J? I still do have a 50-point lead. Where can I score? Well, I could just play Joe and Op. Over 30 points. Opponent may come back with a Z play, but it's unlikely to be massive. So do I have anything better than Joe and Op? Four vowels and 1 consonant is quite heavy. I could play Joe and Or just to interrupt the bingo lane. But I don't want my opponent to catch me without needing to bingo, so I would like to keep on scoring. Just looking in column 3 to see if I had a play down through the T. Can't see one. Can't see anything through the Z. Can't see anything through the I or from the W. So I think I am going to play Joe and hopefully draw a couple of consonants. I draw 1 consonant and I have no scoring tiles, but I do have a lead of 79 points. Still the Q and X to come, but look at the vowel situation. 5 out of 20. That's really going to be obstructing my opponent's ability to bingo. However, I'm going to struggle to score with this rack. So I'm looking at the Z to try and increase my score. So I could play Zanti. Only 28 points, and I'm providing a useful vowel floater, so I'm a little reluctant to do that. I notice that there's still I, N and G out there. I think blunking is good for 45 points. Great, only 21 points for my opponent. I've got the N for making chins, so what I could do is this. Nay, that gives nothing away. And it's 28 points, so I quite like that. I draw a scoring tile in the F. I'm 80 to 90 points in front, 86 points in front, so I'm in quite a strong position. Still the X to come, still both V's to come. I can play feet, ope and re. 23 points. Anything over 20 points is good when you're looking to hang on to an 80 or 90 point lead. There's still a really nice bingo lane in row K for 7-letter bingos ending in S. If my opponent doesn't go there this turn, I could obstruct that with a zag play across here. So something like Gita. 22 points. Retaining the F for score. Just 9 tiles in the bag. Well, too late. My opponent gets his bingo down, and he's now only 17 points behind. But look at the remaining tiles. Pretty much a horror show. 3 Ds, 2 Vs, and an X. There is a big X spot above the I for XI, so I'm going to take that out. There's nowhere else. Ah, there is. There's a second massive X spot above US. And XI plays in both of them. But if my opponent plays XI, his remaining rack is going to be atrocious. So I think I need to keep scoring. And I'll keep hold of the I in case I draw the X. So I'm being drawn to feet. 23 points. Can I do better than that? I could play Feta. 26 points. That's quite nice. It gives me scoring options for next turn. That F is not particularly useful for my opponent. £26 points. Wow, this is a close ending if my opponent does have XI. Four minutes on my clock. I'm just wondering about the advantage of playing off more tiles than Feta, because I'm drawing 2. It's much easier to go out in 1 with 4 tiles than with 5. But how can I play 5 tiles? Well, I can do this. Gifty for 38, which is huge. I'm retaining the A. So what if I draw both these? I've got Vav on my rack, but does it play anywhere? 3 minutes on my clock. It doesn't. I'm taking out one XI spot. I'm leaving the other. £52 points for my opponent, so he'll be on 437. I'll be on 440. I'll be 3 points ahead. I think if I draw 2 Vs, I probably lose, but I think if I draw anything else, I win. I'm going with this. Great, just the 1 V. But can I go out in 1? I've got via and at, so yes, I think this game is in the bag. And my opponent doesn't have an I. I played an I and I drew an I. I retained just the A, so I drew IV. My opponent did not have an I for XI. Fantastic. So he's got this heap of junk. 38 points. Now he's taken my via spot, and I hadn't identified a second spot, and he's only 17 points behind. But look at this rack. Awful. But might I be stuck with the V? I can play VEE. Okay, I can play VEE, and then do I have 2 spots for AI? Surely I do. 2 minutes on my clock. But is there really nowhere to go out with this rack? It's Vegi, doesn't work. Vita is good, so that's a few more points. But a rack like Via looks like one should be able to go out, but I'm not seeing a spot for it. So I can see Vita for 15, that's 455. That's going to put me 32 points in front. I've then got AI. AI and GI is good. And where's my second spot? TAI, so I'm definitely going out. And my opponent definitely isn't, with 3 Ds, an N and a V. So where's the best spot for AI? $10 points for AI and GI. Not too many places available. However, I do have two spots. They can't both be blocked. RAI also good. And my opponent really stuffed. He came back into the game fantastically well with squiz and loiters, and then drew a rack full of complete dreck. So his luck didn't stay with him. Okay, 9 points for my opponent. AI and GI 410. And the final score, 432 to my opponent, 479 to me, a winning margin of 47 points, so a huge win. Let's see what I missed. It was me to go fast. Phew, I didn't miss a bingo. Yata, quite nice, but I prefer my play of K because of the rack leave. And this is the rack my opponent spent forever on at the beginning of the game, and you can see why. He's got 2 blanks, which is fantastic. And the rest of the rack means there are quite a few bingos to consider. And his deliberations were worth it because he came up with a fantastic play, which stopped me from bingoing, and really limited the amount of counterplays that I had. So he played an Ionic. Now you can see that I don't have a bingo, and I played Or. Opponent's rack, quite nice. He plays Mog, and I have Dipteron, which I was delighted to see wasn't blocked. Opponent plays More, and Ureo K8. Making Oma and Goa. I think I would probably have played that if I'd seen it. It's a good score, and it is providing an S hook. This was unnecessarily risky and didn't score as much. Opponent has Keragen. How interesting. If I had played Ureo, opponent would have had Keragen as a bingo and UN. That doesn't mean our was a better play. So he plays Keragen, and now I have a ton of bingos on the bottom row. Opponent plays Blunk, and I have Fusilier, and at this point I am riding high. I'm 110 points in the lead and only 34 tiles to come. Wholly unaware of the drama to come later on in the game. So, opponent plays Lithe. Phew, no missed bingo there. And I play Yob for 34, and I still like that. It's scoring up towards the top, and the rack leave is best. Horrible rack for my opponent. So, this is when he plays Lou, and what he's doing is leaving himself with a really good rack leave and stopping me from scoring in column 1. And he's holding back the S in case of something amazing in row H. But he didn't have the amazing thing when he played it. He just had the S. And I play Print. And there's nothing else in column 2 which would have stopped Swizz. So Print is fine. And this is a fantastic play by my opponent. He plays Swizz and now is just 50 points behind. My rack, no fabulous J plays. Egypt quite nice. N3. Well, that's setting up a big O play, a big row O play, so I don't particularly like that. And I quite like my play of Joe, given the vowel shortage. Opponent plays off just the Q, and look at the rack that he leaves. E-Toils, a great 6-letter set. So that's a nice play. I'm struggling for scoring options. However, NAE, I think, does the job quite nicely. And opponent plays Loiters, and it's game on. He's now just 17 points behind. This is my rack. I play Gifty. I still like that for the reasons stated. Opponent doesn't have XI. And I don't think he would have won even if he did have it. So he plays Axe. And I don't have an out. A10 Uvea. Okay, I didn't see that. I played Vita for the same score, keeping AI. And Vita's a better player. I'm going to score more with AI than I am with I. Opponent plays something. Odd. And finally, AI for 10 was the best. So, dramatic stuff. My initial bingo was thwarted. My opponent got his bingo down and got into the lead. I came back into the game with Diptron and Torches, but then my opponent came back into the game with his brilliant play of Swizz and follow-up bingo of Loiters and the threat of XI for 50 points. So, huge amounts of drama in that game, and I managed to secure the win by 40 points. So, all good stuff. I hope you enjoyed watching that, and I will see you next time.